it's where we're not speaking to ourselves. Let's see. All right, we got some people in here. Hey guys, what's up? This is Nick with the Lost River Drive-In, from the Lost River Drive-In. I am here with my buddy Justin, Ryan 1988.
What's going on? How are you?
And we are joined today by a special guest. His name is Sam. His channel is Triple Feature. You guys have seen him cause quite the ruckus in some of these live chats. Here he is. Sam, how you doing, man?
I'm happy to be here. Ready to cause chaos and havoc in front of everybody on the screen now. So this is good and get a chance to do this.
Yep. Awesome. We got Ali. What's up? Charlie.
What's going on? Hey, Charlie.
Jeffrey. Big Daddy J. What's up? So, as you guys know, we talked about it last week. Is there latency here, guys, with my audio?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit now, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get this right. It's been the past 2 times we've done videos, Justin. It's really not been wanting to work for me, and I don't understand it. Better?
Talk one more time.
Hey, what's up?
Better.
That was better.
It's getting better.
All right. So we're going to talk about the Friday the 13th franchise. We're going to talk about all of them. And that includes Freddy versus Jason, although I consider that movie more of a nightmare movie because it's Freddy's story, but you can put it in there. So we're going to talk about all 12. And then if we have some time at the end, maybe we'll just go around and say, hey, this is what I want to see whenever Victor Miller and Sean S. Cunningham are done, having a pissing contest. Jill, what's up? She says a triple feature in the flesh. Yeah, I know, right? It's wild.
Very good. And in the spirit, so this is good.
Go.
10:31. All right, so first, basically, we're going to go film by film. We're going to go around. We're going to talk about not necessarily our first memory of seeing it because we've kind of already done that. We do that a lot. I really just want to talk about what we thought of the movie, first time we saw it, what we think about it now. And we'll just go around. I'll start and I'll say Friday the 13th. First time I watched it, I was bummed because it didn't have Jason in it. I couldn't respect it for what it was as a child. Now I can respect it. Really enjoy it. We just did a live commentary for it last week. A very big fan of that movie. Having said that, it's probably my 4th in the franchise. Although I will say some of the things about the things that Friday does well, Friday does really well. So I don't want to go too much on a rant about it, but I enjoy Friday the 13th Part 1. And yeah, I think I like it more now than I did, obviously, when I first watched it, but especially even when I was a teenager, because I was kind of critical of these movies for a long time. And it's not right. Looking back on it now, I'm like, I was really wrong about some of these movies, but I digress. So, Justin, what are your thoughts on Friday? What did you think when you first saw it, and what do you think of it now?
So when I first saw this movie, I already knew that Jason wasn't going to be the killer just because in the beginning of Scream, Drew Barrymore's being asked questions. And so I knew only that. I rented the movie. My mom actually recommended the movie. And I watched it, and I loved it. But the biggest memory I have of this movie is by the end of the film, when Jason pops out of the water. My mom did not tell me anything about that. I jumped out of my seat. I had one of those moments where I jumped right up. And I loved it then. I used to say it was my favorite because I would always go by, the first one's my favorite film of the franchise. But I would say, like you now, even though I love it, it ranks in at number 4 for me with the franchise.
Awesome. What about you, Sam? What did you think when you first saw it? How do you feel now?
I probably first saw it, I was probably 8 or 9, and I have zero memory, really, except for the fact that I remember being surprised there was no Jason. So I was watching with my mom, and I had no memory at all. So just recently, in the last couple months, I bought the first 7 movies and then watched them all. And the first one was the only one I'd actually seen of the first 7. So I actually rewatched it. Now, I expected my thing was I expected the acting to be just way worse. I expected it to be super low level everything, and it surprised me that it was. It surprised me it was as solid as it was. Actually, it did surprise. Yeah, it's a bit. It gets a little bit hokey with that, seeing through the eyes and people getting stabbed randomly and stuff, and all that sort of stuff. But I did think when I was watching, I was just like, okay, this is actually much better than I thought it would. I'm not bored during any of it. So,
yeah. Also, real quick, guys. Hey, what's up, Junior? What's up, Jill? Hi, Jill.
Hello.
Guys. So basically, and then also when we're done talking about each movie, we're gonna give it out of 10. What would you give it if you had to rate it? Just rate it. But before we do that, I want to ask. Okay, we've talked about what we like about it. Sam, I want to start with you. What is if there's one major gripe you have with Friday the 13th Part 1, one thing that when you watch it you're like, man, I wish they didn't do that. Do you have a gripe with it?
I think mainly it's the kills. I like when watching these old movies, I love much more dynamic, brutal kills. And a lot of these kills are very simple, like someone turns and they scream or they go, hey, what are you doing? And then they're gone. And so that's okay to a certain extent, but it doesn't get my engine revving. You know what I mean? So when you're watching that, I kind of have that gripe during it. And sometimes you also want a little thicker story sometimes. I'm not asking for a lot, but maybe a little more depth to the whole story. So
okay, yeah, I can agree with that. I think that the uncut version, which it only gives you like 2 extended, I think as Justin pointed out, like 2 extended scenes of gore, but I think they were necessary. I think it adds to it definitely. Also, especially when you get later into the series and the MPAA really boned this franchise. But they're not the most creative. Absolutely. I would say my main gripe with it is it sounds like, I don't know. It's for me, there's a lot that happens that it is hard a little bit sometimes to believe like, okay, Mrs. Voorhees did that. Like, I don't know. There are a couple times where you're like, you look at this woman, it's a, older, smaller, old woman. And you're like, I don't know, but I can suspend disbelief because it's a freaking movie, guys. So nobody in the chat.
It's not very progressive of you. Not very progressive. Yeah. I look at women and I just say, of course she could. Even if she's a middle-aged woman, of course.
But I just, so it's a movie. I get it. But like, especially in the scene in the Jeep when she picks up Annie and like you see them drive across, like right across the bridge or whatever it is, like driving near Crystal Lake or toward Crystal Lake, and you see the person driving the car, you're like, that's a big dude driving that car. That's not Mrs. Voorhees if you pay attention. But I digress. Justin, if you have a gripe, and I know you're very positive, but if you have a gripe, do you have a gripe?
I don't love every movie. No, I would say like now watching it, and like I said, it used to be number 1 for me. I would say like if I had any gripe, I would say it would be the story. It's not a bad story. Has a great ending. I love the ending. Characters, I really have no problems with the characters. I would just say like outside of some of the other Friday the 13th films that we're going to talk about, it's definitely not the best story. And when it comes to like the early slasher movies, while I do love the movie, if we're talking like early slashers like this and Prom Night and all those that came out around the same time, I don't know if it ranks in like my like top 10 favorite slashers. I think the story's overall simple, if that makes sense. Like it doesn't really go too far as far as
Halloween story was very simple too. Back in that time, you could make it work. But I agree with you. It's not that it's the simplicity of the story. It's that I feel like there isn't a ton of meat on the bone there. That's what it is. It's like it's very straightforward. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's like, I prefer sometimes to have a movie that's, I don't know, kind of multi-layered. So, I get that. But all right.
Meat on the bones, that's good. That's a good way of putting it.
By the way, Junior says hello, triple feature.
Hello, Junior.
Sam, you guys, his name is Sam as well, but call him whatever. His channel is triple feature. Go sub to him if you haven't already. Also, I see Kevin just got in here. What's up, Kevin? Wait till we get to the remake, buddy. Anyway, so
I guess my mic's too loud, so I'll step back a little bit. I was told my mic was a little loud, so.
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay, so rated out of 10. Sam, you go first. Out of 10, what do you give Friday the 13th?
I guess, I mean, for my own scoring, probably different than everybody else, but for me, it's like a 6 out of 10. I enjoy it, but it's not, when you start getting into 8s, for me, 8 starts getting into like a great film. This is above average, I think, like of most horror films, and it's a good setup. But it's nothing that if I had just seen nowadays without seeing the other ones, that I would have been like, oh, I've got to see more of this.
Yeah. All right, Justin, what about you?
Since it does rank high on my list, I'm gonna give it like I'd say like a 9.2 if that counts. Like 9.2.
Oh, 9.2.
Yeah, I'll give it a 9.2 because
Justin's I still think it's
throwing
out the decimal points. Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, 9.2.
Fancy.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to go a solid 8. Because for 8 for me is like 8 and above, I think is a great movie. Now, if I'm going to give a movie a 10, it's because I think it's the absolute bee's knees. And although this is a very, it's an essential slasher movie. Everybody knows Friday the 13th. It's an 8 for me. It's very, very good, bordering great. That's how I would put it. So that's Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th, part 2. We get Sackhead Jason. We get, in my opinion, one of the most brutal Jasons. When I first saw Friday the 13th, part 2, absolutely loved the movie. Also, the ending is super strange in an awesome way. Putting on the sweater and talking to him. Really, really enjoyed that. I think that this movie is a little more layered than the first one was. I think it's got great kills, and I think the addition of Jason being the antagonist he's just by far and away better than Mrs. Voorhees. So I always have liked part 2. The first time I watched it, I liked it. It's always ranked higher than part 1 for me, and I think that's just because of Jason. Overall, I don't really have many gripes with it. We'll get to the cons after all of us give our thoughts. But Justin, Friday Part 2, what'd you think of it? And what do you think of it now?
So the first time I saw this is one of the last ones I might have seen. This is one for some reason. Like my mom let me watch horror movies, but she said, don't watch this one. I don't know why. But I eventually bought it on a VHS tape and I loved it right away. And I thought it was actually the scariest Friday the 13th. I thought it was very eerie. Like you said, Nick, I think Jason is one of the most brutal Jasons we've had. I love our final girl, Jenny Amy Steele. She's great. She's one of my favorite final girls.
Underrated, in my opinion. Underrated.
I agree. I think the kills are great. So yeah. Now, I would say I still love this, and I definitely prefer it over the first movie. It ranks definitely in like top 3 for me. It might even be my second favorite. I'm not sure. I always go back and forth. But yeah, so Friday the 13th Part 2. It's a film that still holds up. I think it's gotten better since my first viewing, and I loved it the first time, and I still love it now.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of love for it in the chat. Also, really quick, guys, don't spam the chat, please. I don't want people's comments to get lost. And also, if we disagree about opinions on movies, that's fine, guys. This is the point. I mean, there's no, yes, this film is fantastic, and you can't tell me it isn't. I mean, you know what I mean? It's all opinion-based, so keep it clean, keep it, positive in there. What's up, Isaiah? Isaiah's in here.
What's up?
So then, Sam, what did you think? What do you think now?
Well, so this is the one I just seen for the first time a couple months ago, and seeing the beginning of Jason. And first I'd like to say for the people in the I'm okay with people disagreeing with my opinions. I think they're wrong, obviously, and I don't like you, but I'm okay with you disagreeing. So just so everybody knows that this one is a step up. This is a step up from the last one for me. This is where I feel like it becomes a horror series and not just like a murder mystery that's kind of creepy. With the beginning with the head inside the fridge, and Sackhead Jason. I think it's the creepiest of all the movies. Honestly, it's the one that reminds me the most. If I'd have been a kid and seen it, would have given me nightmares. Now I do. Okay, it has two very memorable moments for me. Well, one, you have the girl that's wearing. She's basically wearing preschool shorts in the movie. I don't know exactly explain it. They're the shorts that like they point out that your dad was never around growing up. Mm-hmm. But so she's there, and they mention that part about like watch out for the girls if bears are around if you're on your period. I don't know who put in the thing, but it's very memorable. The other thing was everybody in this movie is getting action. Even the guy in the wheelchair is about to get action. And so I thought, I was like, this guy in the wheelchair nowadays, they would put him in, and we're obviously a little bit more caring society in a lot of ways, and he would be there to the end. Not in the 80s. The 80s, they put a axe in his head and shoved him down the stairs. And I couldn't stop laughing because he's rolling. I thought he was going to roll forever down the stairs. And I was like, this is the greatest death that someone put in here of killing a man in a wheelchair who's about to live his dream finally. He didn't think this was going to happen, obviously. Right? There's an actual attractive girl, and she's like, I don't care that you're in a wheelchair. I'm like, wow, axe to the head. It was really an axe to the entire disabled community, I felt like. But it was, those two parts were absolutely hilarious. But this movie at the end, when they show the head sitting on the thing and the mom's head and everything, now I don't quite understand. The girl came up with a crazy idea that maybe probably shouldn't have worked with Jason, but it worked. And it was one of the cooler ideas, I thought. It was a step up overall. There wasn't the mystery really so much, but it was kind of not one call it a remake of the first one, but it very much goes right along with it. But I just think they just took it and they were like, let's actually make it scarier. Yeah. And Sackhead's cool. I like the sack.
They up the ante. I mean, I think in just pretty much every aspect, there's more, I don't know, what you call it? Adultery, more murder, more creep factor. It's just everything, like it's just, everything is magnified. And now, if you have a con with the movie, and we'll pick it right back up with you. What do you have a con? Do you have a complaint? I think obviously this one's different. So Jason's a bit different in this one. He's wearing overalls. He's not as an intimidating figure. You see him actually like physically fighting a man and losing while they're in a struggle. You see him while the girl gets under the bed and he like hops up on a chair and the chair breaks and he falls. That was just funny. I don't know if it was intentionally funny, but it was weird knowing what Jason becomes to seeing him as more of kind of a straightforward killer who could really be fought hand to hand and would fall over, and you had some kind of clunky hand to hand combat going on at times. So that to me was kind of the thing, was at times when he would do better even at that time as more of an imposing figure to grab somebody and throw him. They make him look a little too weak at those times. So it made it a little bit unintentionally funny. Yeah. What's up, John? Jonathan Cavanaugh's in here. What's up, man? All right, Justin, what about you? If you have a complaint,
I mean,
even if it's minor, just
minor complaint. Maybe having to deal with some of the like writing or some of the moments in the film, like I guess like character situations. Like there's the one character in the movie, like one of the nicest girls in this film, but she goes upstairs. I don't know if you remember this, but she goes upstairs. She goes in the room where the two have just been shish kebab. Yeah. Jason pops out of the bed, and I still don't understand why she did not run out of the room, because she's like slowly backing up and getting in a corner. I'm like, get out of the room, like run. So little character things like that. I look at stuff like that. I'm like, you could have ran out of that room. You didn't have to like go back up in a corner. That's my opinion on it. But I would say just like some of the writing in there could have been fixed a little bit. You have the scene where Jenny's under the bed and pee pretty much comes out of the bed, and you're like, did the rat pee? Did she pee? Like little things like that. You kind of look at. I don't know if it's outdated stuff. I don't know if it's just like plot holes. I'm not sure how I would describe it, but I would say probably just like a little bit of the writing.
Yeah. For me, I agree with all those points. You know, it's easier for, I guess it's, I don't know. It's the 80s. So, we get that a lot in these movies. I know you guys both know that, it's not like you would see this pretty much every other slasher movie in the 80s. So, but for me, my biggest gripe, honestly, by the way, what's up, Dan? Filthy Dan's in here. Um, I just wish he had the hockey mask. I mean, really, it's a minor gripe, but and I do enjoy the sackhead look, I do, but I don't know, man. I think it's just from my childhood when I first saw this one, knowing that he was going to be in it. He didn't have the hockey mask. I'm like, where the hell's the hockey mask? Jason is the hockey mask guy. So it's my minor gripe. That's it, really. I mean, let's get right into rating this bad boy. I'm going 9 out of 10. What about you, Justin?
I'm trying to, let's see, how would I, because,
and you're allowed to give more than 110, by the way.
Okay. I'm going to give this one, I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10.
Okay.
Man. I give this one a 6.57. I'll really get into the math here. Yeah, this one's a step up from the other one. It's definitely, for me, not the strongest in the series, but it's a step up. It felt like it learned.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
It did. It definitely did, and it did things better. I think we all agree with that. So let's get right into where it's going to start to get interesting. Friday the 13th, Part 3. Friday the 13th, 3D, whatever the hell you want to call it. Look, Friday the 13th, Part 3, when I first saw it, I loved it. Are the 3D shots annoying where it's just so in your face at times? It's the yo-yo scene, for example, just really gets annoying. That it's you guys are drawing this out for 30 seconds with a yo-yo. I get it, whatever, new-ish technology. They wanted to be oh, here we go. But I've always really been a big fan of Friday the 13th Part 3, and I am unashamed of that. I think that this movie shows a side of Jason that you don't really get a lot in some of these movies, and that's a more suspenseful, stalking Jason. He's very smart. I feel like the portrayal of Jason in this film is awesome. I think the mask is awesome. One of the best masks, if I'm being honest, is Part 3. I know you get complaints about Chris. I know you get complaints about the use of the 3D, all that kind of stuff. I really enjoy it. I think it's kind of no holds barred. I just think that it is, especially the opening with Harold and his wife. That just whole stalking sequence. I really thought was reminiscent of Halloween, and I've just always been a huge fan of that. I love Part 3. I loved it when I first saw it, and I love it now. And that's all I'll say about that for now. Justin, Part 3.
All right. So I think the first time I saw this movie was when I got the Camp Crystal Lake to Manhattan box set. I might have seen it on TV. This one has a little bit of a. I don't have my first time memories go back and forth. It's either the box set or TV. I think it's the box set. But I loved it the first time I saw it. This was obviously the first time we got to see Jason with the hockey mask, which was great. You do have some great characters in this. Jason is definitely creepy at times. I think he brings the creep factor in this one too, like Part 2. Yeah, I loved it then. Still love it now. I think some of the things that don't hold up for me, you mentioned some of them. I think, while I do think the 3D effects can be fun, I think with that, compared to some of the other top films, I would say it might be a little outdated. But I would say that's probably about it. This is definitely top 5 for me. I do overall love this movie. So I'd say some outdated stuff there, but that's about it. That's about it for me.
Hey,
Maybe
Jamie, what's up?
Continuity issues, the fact that, you went from Part 2, and hello, Jamie, but you went from Part 2 where, Jason, by the end of the movie, saw that he had some hair and everything. In this movie, he's definitely a little bit more built. He's, bald in the movie.
Yeah, he's low-key thick. He's low-key thick.
this is supposed to take place after the second movie, like the day after or something like that, or a few days. So little things like that. I think some of the plot holes in writing and outdated moments in it.
No. Okay. What do you think, triple feature?
I like my Jason thick as well. It's my preference. I like, if he's going to be killing people, I want to see a little jiggle as we're going, I don't, a little more sex appeal towards this because it was all going to the ladies and Kevin Bacon, obviously, in the first one. But, in the third one, to really get, until the mask comes off, I think, till you find out he is a brown bagger, it is nice. But the third one, I do really like the opening. And then for the first half of the movie, I was like, okay, this is my least favorite. There's this weird gang that's attacking the people. There's the guy that looks like a young Jeff Ross. If anybody knows the comedian Jeff Ross, he's the guy that's like annoying everybody. He's got a big fro. It's real kind of wacky, and you get that whole backstory with the one girl when it's like, oh, Jason attacked her, and I was like, oh, okay. But the movie becomes better than the other two, in my opinion, once Jason really gets going. Once he gets the mask, the kills actually get fun. Like, he grabs the guy's head and squashes the guy's head. I'm like, okay, that's what I'm here for. Yeah. Like, this is what I'm here for. And him going through the whole house and killing everybody, then I was in. I was like, okay, he shoots somebody with that one, I don't know what that one kind of gun is, that fishing type gun.
Harpoon.
Yeah, he harpoons the one person. He's doing all this sort of stuff. And the ending, now look, every time Jason's mask comes off, I'm like, oh my gosh. Because I feel like most of the time, like someone's kid put the makeup together. But he's like from Wrong Turn in the first one, and the second one, right? He looks like he's just like a hillbilly, and then this one, he's like he looks more like Toxic Avenger. So but at the end, I really did like it. If it makes any sense, I gave up on the whole series making sense. But the girl going down on the raft and seeing him stare with his stupid face through the house, and watching her, and the mom coming out, I was like, this is genuinely weird, creepy, like mid-70s type stuff going on here. And so, yeah, this one, I thought this was the one that became the funnest of the first three. I was just like, okay, second half, all right. I feel like they're doing what they got the mask. We're killing people in a fun way, and we're doing something a little different. It was more original.
Yeah, that's one thing that's really underrated about this movie is how unsettling the ending is. That ending, just him running full speed at her after clawing on the window and like making hissing noises. I mean, it's all right. So, Junior, look, I'm not tolerating that in the chat, bro. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to block you, but I'm putting you in timeout. You keep it up and I'll block you. But thank you for giving me some watch time hours. I really appreciate that.
I already miss him.
Yeah. Anyway, and I think that's something that's really underrated about it for sure, is that the unsettling nature of the ending. Now, if I have a con, I think we all pretty much already talked about our cons. I don't really even know if we have to go over that. It takes a little bit to get going near the beginning. I think the whole side plot point of like Chris was attacked by Jason before. I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. That's kind of weird. I'm not a fan of that.
I didn't care.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's not a big deal. It's just kind of weird. It's just like, I don't know why that's necessary. But, yeah, I think that I think that it's just the 3D shots take a little bit to get going, stuff like that. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's your show. I'll agree with you. Yeah. I don't want to get blocked. No. I'm just trying to agree.
Now, I'm going to throw in real quick. I do love, and I still love it today. I'm
a dad, Jill. I know how to lay down the law. All right, go ahead.
The moment where Chris realizes that this was the guy that from her past, and he takes off that mask. Like, that was creepy. Like, so creepy. Richard Broker as Jason is one of my favorites. I think he did a fantastic job, and may he rest in peace. Like, he definitely one of my favorite Jasons. And like you said, Nick, the scene where she sees him in the window and he's like crawling and everything, that is creepy stuff. Very creepy moments in the movie. Yes. Like, he did a great job as Jason.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to get right into my rating, you guys. If you've seen it, my ranking, if you've seen the You Need a Horror podcast episode with Pizzal, it's a 10 out of 10 for me. Objectively speaking, like, no. But in my opinion, it's the most fun for me, the most fond memories for me. It gave me everything I wanted as a teenager in a Friday the 13th movie. And I think the moment when I first watched it that told me I was like, yeah, you love this movie, dude, is splitting the dude in half when he's walking on his hands.
Oh.
That right there was like, yep, I'm in. So personally, love it. 10 out of 10. What about you, Justin?
I'm going to give this one an 8.9. I still think it's a great
Justin is wonky numbers.
Yeah, I don't want to like lower. I don't think this film's like a film that's like low on the list. I think this is like 8.9.
No. Yeah.
8.9.
All right, Sam.
Yeah, so this was a step. I'd probably give it I'm the voice of the people, and so I'm going to give it a 6.8. Try to narrow it down a little bit. But yeah, this was a step up again. This was another right, which is weird for any most series, I think, in general. Most time the first one is easily the best, and then everything after that's a little rough, or trying. Well, so.
It's funny you mentioned that because now we're getting into the final chapter, which is like renowned as everyone's favorite. Final chapter. Look, to be quick with it, I really, really enjoyed this movie. The first time I watched it, I really related to Corey Feldman's character for sure because I was more. I guess you could say different when I was a kid, like I liked video games and creepy stuff and weird stuff like that. My friends did too. I don't know. I identified with him. I identify as Corey Feldman. But I don't know. I really enjoyed it. And I thought that Trish is super, super underrated. Like I think she's an incredibly likable character. I think it's got some really great kills and the ending. Just the ending with the machete to Jason's head is like, damn, all right, you really want this guy to die, huh? And I love part 4. I really, really do. I've always liked it. And I think I actually grow more fond, of it as time goes on, which is weird. But yeah, I digress. That's my piece on 4. What about you, Justin?
So first time I saw it, I believe this was, I would say TV or again in the DVD box set, but I loved it the first time. And now I still love it. There are things that I loved it. I loved when I first saw it and I still love now. I love Trish. She's again, one of my favorite final girls in this franchise. And like you said, she's pretty underrated. She doesn't get enough talk. But I think she's great. Corey Feldman's great in the movie. Love the overall cast. I think this is a great cast that really stands out in the movie. I mean, you got Crispin Glover in this movie doing his iconic dance. Hey, Danny. Which, by the way, I could probably do that dance, reenact it at some point. But I love stuff like that. Love the soundtrack. I think up until, you had the first 3 movies, you had great kills overall. I think the kills are definitely, they've kind of upped it a little bit more. I think it's a pretty scary Friday the 13th film. Just overall, really, really love this movie.
Hell yeah. All right, Sam?
This is the one that, so right before I watched all of them, I was checking all the Reddit things, seeing what everybody ranked it. And this was always 1 or 2 on everybody's list. And so I was always interested in where this one was going. Now, number 1, I feel like I knew it was better than the first 3, or right from the opening shot where the director decided to do like a 1-shot move with the camera and he follows all the ambulances and stuff, and it slowly goes into it slowly moves its way to Jason where he's laying there dead. Yeah. And it's just 1 shot, and I was like, okay, this director already has a little bit more thought here what he's trying to do. And Corey Feldman coming here, I mean, most kids in the acting are a lot lesser, and he elevates every scene, I think, because Corey Feldman was just a good kid actor. And then Crispin Glover, obviously, too. He's just a good actor. And so you had some like real good actors in this that were in this one. This one has also some of the best stunts, I think, in the series. Jason throws some people out like on top of cars and stuff, and the stunts are done actually really well. And there also seemed to be more. There was like the plot line of the guy that's out in the tent. There's Corey Feldman and him there. There's Crispin Glover and all of his friends at the house. You have Jason coming back. The plot got thicker too. And then also then it set up obviously the whole thing with Corey Feldman's character, which like, him just going at the end and just chopping and being, with his hair all shaved off. And, they obviously redid the ending of 2 for thing. This one was a little more far-fetched, I would say, for a little kid to go, let me quickly shave my head real fast down and get crazy. And then I was like, whoa. But I did feel pretty much in every aspect, except for being scary, which I still think the second one and the end of the third one are the creepiest. In every aspect of filmmaking, this was the strongest. And the kills and everything,
Yeah. Look, I'm just going to be real quick about this. I don't have a gripe, really. I mean, if I wanted to be a negative Nancy and nitpick, like, I could. I definitely could, in the sense of like, well, this movie's dragged down a bit for this reason or that. No, I mean, I know there are flaws. We all do. Every movie is flawed. But I really don't have a complaint about this movie. What about you, Justin?
I really don't. This is a film, like you said, I was nitpicking some of the writing in the previous movies, and I don't want to take it back completely, because like you said, these Friday the 13th films, they can have flaws in them. But when I watch this movie, I just love it. I really don't see problems with this movie at all.
Yep. What about you?
Problem. Yeah, I mean, I'll nitpick. Well, let's do it. I think sometimes the party with Crispin Glover and his friends goes a little too long. It kind of drags with them, where I'm kind of like, let's get to the meat of what we're here for. I'm not here to watch all of you. I'm not really here to watch all of you try to sleep with each other and hang out and watch things. I understand that's kind of a narrative choice in all the Friday the 13th movies, but and then just sometimes some of the acting, some other people, where it can get a bit corny on some of the acting. You were like, okay, yeah, we're doing kind of the typical thing of what's going on here, but there isn't near as much to nitpick from this movie. I mean, it especially compared to the first 3. There's never a time during the movie that I was just like, okay, which one? Okay, just remind me here, because I can't watch them in a row. Which one is it where the car's going by and there's the fat girl that's on the side of the road who asks for a ride and they don't give her a ride? And then which one is it? Is that 4?
Yeah, this is it.
So I'll nitpick. That part was dumb.
It's dumb. Yeah.
I couldn't remember which one that was for, which one it was from, and I was like, but that part's been stuck in my head, because I was always like, I was like, who decided on this? It was a really weird decision. We're like, we'll have the obese woman be like, ask for a ride, but then she'll be offended, and then after she's offended, just like the guy in the wheelchair, we'll kill her terribly. And I was like, okay, we're in the 80s. So yeah.
I highlighted this comment because this is actually one of my employees. You're at work right now, Parker, so you should probably get back to working. I really appreciate that, buddy. Anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna rank it, man. We're gonna rate it, not rank it, rate it. By the way, guys, I love all the stuff you guys are talking about in the chat. I'm seeing all of them. I don't know if you guys have it pulled up as well. Do you have your chats up?
I can see it.
So, yeah, a lot of people, it seems relatively, relatively peaceful. We'll see if it lasts. But I appreciate everybody in here right now. Keep it coming. I will point out ones when I have a chance. I just don't want to get too bogged down. But Friday the 13th, the final chapter, 10 out of 10 for me. It's 10. Justin.
I'm going to give this one, if we can give a rating on another movie, I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10 too.
All right. And as me and Junior give this one a 7 out of 10. Me and Junior, though. I would give it a 10 out of 10, but me combining with Junior, I have to drop to a 7. Okay. So I'm angry also, just like Junior. So.
Yeah, well, we got a... No,
wait, he rates it a 0.
He rates it a 0. Yeah.
Hey, an effing 0.
I don't know if this Junior guy is a troll or not. I really don't know if he's a troll. I'm getting a sense that he might be a troll. If you're trolling me, just know that you are giving me watch time hours, which is helping me toward monetization. So thank you very much.
It better not be my dad. If it's my dad, I'm thinking he's on here trolling us.
Maybe I should pull these comments up. I'm not saying any of this, but it sounds interesting.
Some of them are quite cancerous, Justin. So it might be better for your mental health. But well, let's see real quick. I enjoy coming home from a hard day's work and watch your live streams. Justin's been a sub of yours. Yeah. Okay. Hell yeah. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for finding me through Justin, I'm assuming. Justin's okay, you know, whatever. But you know, me, right? No, but thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. We love doing these things. We love talking to you guys.
Absolutely.
And I'm actually really happy to have Sam on here too, because he's just as funny in front of the camera as he is, you know, in the chat. Although he definitely, I appreciate that he is a little more toned. He's pulled back a little bit, you know, and I appreciate it, but don't worry, I don't get.
I've already seen how you handle disruptors, and I'm trying to back off. You've into dad mode, and it's not that, again, just like Jill, it's not that it doesn't turn me on. It's just that I try to back up a little bit. I don't want to get
for sure. Hey, I appreciate that.
But if we talk a sexier film, then maybe like Basic Instinct or something, then that's a different thing.
Oh yeah. You know? Oh well, we don't. Junior's a human, by the way. I didn't mean a troll as in, well, whatever. You're trolling anyway.
I love you, Junior.
Okay, so part five, New Blood, Friday part 5. What did I think of Friday part 5 the first time I saw it? This is actually one of the last ones I saw. And believe it or not, I was not pissed off when I got the reveal at the end. Like so many people, man. I mean, it's just, look, the thing that stuck out to me about Friday part 5 after I was done with it was not the whole, oh my God, it's Roy. No, it was why the hell do you give a mentally ill man an axe and let him chop wood? And then why did he just decide to butcher someone for offering a chocolate bar? Like so much, that's what stuck out to me, not the Roy thing. I mean, I'm being dead serious, because I was like, whatever. We've seen copycats in movies before. I mean, every major of the big 3, at least I should say, franchise has a black sheep that is totally different. And this is that one in Friday the 13th. But I think the kills are awesome. I mean, Deborah Voorhees. Oh, I messed that up. But Deborah Voorhees, got to give it up. Just a beautiful scene. But those kills too. My God, those are incredible. Love the hedge clippers through the freaking eyes. I just really like the movie. I mean, is it better than 4 or 3 or 2? No. But it's or 1 for that matter. But it's fun. I mean, I think that it gives you enough of what, if you're a Friday fan, it gives you enough. I think if you only dislike it because of Roy at the end, oh my God, I said a new blood, didn't I? Sorry, Jamie. I'm sorry. It's a new beginning. The new beginning. Yes, I know. Whatever. My brain's all over the place. I
can't handle this anymore. Justin, let's leave.
I got my kid in here pulling stuff out of a bin, going crazy. So anyway, the new beginning.
Punish that child. Punish him.
Well, he doesn't even know what he's doing with his life right now.
I can't believe. Yeah, that's classic.
But, so yeah, for me, I just really enjoy it. I feel like if the only reason you don't like it is because it's Roy, well, I just feel like that's a really dumb reason to not like it. I mean, if it's not one of your favorites because it's not actually Jason Voorhees committing the mayhem, okay, whatever. But it's not a bad movie just because of that. So I enjoy it. I enjoy part 5. I do have complaints about this one, but real quick before I get into that, Justin, what do you think of part 5?
All right, so new beginning. I loved it when I first saw it. Back then, I would say I see no complaints, and I was like you. The reveal, it did not bother me. I did not mind the reveal. I actually thought that was pretty cool. It threw people off, and hey, that's what we want sometimes. We like that little kind of twist, and again, I don't mind the reveal and ending. Now I would say like this is a movie that I don't love, but I really enjoy. Kind of like part 3. I just think over time, I just don't love it as much like I did the first time.
Don't touch that.
I love the kills. I think the kills are great. I think Violet, another dance moment in this movie.
I knew you were going to talk about that.
I love that. I've always loved the dance moment. I think it's great. I love the song. Again, I could probably do the dance. I'm not lying. I could probably do it. There's a video somewhere. But yeah, I mean, loved it then. Really enjoy it now. It's still overall a great movie.
Hell yeah. All right. Sam, what do you think?
Well, let me explain why this movie is utter trash, and why I have a strong anger against this movie. It was the first one, and I was by myself at night. My wife's asleep, my kids are asleep, and I'm just like crying in anger. So I understand they're trying to reboot the series. Like, I get it. They're trying to do a new thing. And I figured out pretty quick. I was like, okay, this obviously isn't Jason. They're not showing him come back to life. One, they take Corey Feldman's character, and they should have just kept Corey Feldman. Just keep him as a kid and have him move over, because the new guy doesn't basically speak. They turn his character into a mute. They do this great setup, and they leave the good actor, and they bring this other guy in who doesn't say anything, and so he's basically not in the movie. He's like, he just reacts to things for the most part. And when he does get a chance near the end, he just kind of pisses out and falls over. I don't remember, but I was like, okay, just a lot of staring going on. And then the other thing was, this also introduced two of my most disliked characters I've ever seen in a film, which are the two like hillbilly people. There's the guy riding the motorcycle. Oh, he's yelling about his mom, and his mom's always cooking stew or something. I was like, what in the world? And then on top of that, you bring in weird characters. Like, there's the guy that shows up to the hillbilly's place, and he's like looking for work, and she's like, go clean the chicken crap, and then he just goes and dies. I'm like, I was like, good for that guy coming in. And then the whole time, it only took 2 seconds when I went, oh, so it's obviously the paramedic guy or whatever, right? Because they like zoom up on his face twice for no reason.
Oh yeah, I know.
Like dun dun dun, and he's like makes his crate, and I was like, so it's obviously that guy, right? Because
we have a love fest going on right now in the chat for my hair. Everyone's telling me to take my hat off and let my hair loose. So
sorry. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm about to take my shirt off. This is getting yeah, but
the glasses off. There you go. No, you don't want to see that.
But so your main character basically is neutered, so it doesn't really matter. The killer, you basically know who it is, and by the end of the movie, the only person in this movie that I liked was when I remember his name. I liked the little black kid. I thought he was cool.
Yeah, Reggie, right?
Yeah, and I wanted more Reggie action. And if he could have teamed up with Corey Feldman and they'd have been the same age, you could have had a whole thing going on. You could have had Corey Feldman dealing with these issues, but actually talking, right? Actually, doing all the stuff. So I really feel like there's this really big missed opportunity to not to make it a quote unquote kid adventure, but to have two kids team up who are both good actors. And then to be able to have a much stronger movie. So by the time it came to the end, I was like, oh yeah, it's that guy and everything. And then it cuts to the end, and all of a sudden it's like, no, the character is bad now, and he's putting the mask on, and we're setting up a whole new franchise where obviously he's the killer, which we forgot about the next movie. But yeah, it ended, and I was just like, F this movie. I was like, this is...
I don't like the ending, like what you said. I'm going to just go right into my con right off of what Sam just said. I don't like the ending. The whole like setup of, oh, it's going to be Tommy, and then we just totally forget about it in the next movie. And also, this is my least favorite Tommy Jarvis performance. I'm just not a fan of it, really. I like when he flips out and just beats the shit out of that guy. Like that. Yeah. That's pretty cool. But I mean, he offers you nothing in the movie because he doesn't talk, and he's just kind of stoic the whole time and always like, and I'm just like, all right, man, like, cool. But I agree. I'm not a huge fan of child actors a lot of times because, we've seen a lot of horror movies, and we know a lot of child actors in horror movies can be bad. There are exceptions. Like, I love Child's Play, but in the first Child's Play, Alex Vincent is not very good. But Reggie is good in this movie. And so, yeah, I mean, that's my con is the ending. And that's my biggest con, I would say, is the ending and when what they were trying to allude to and then just totally forget about. What about you, Justin? Biggest con?
Well, I'm going to say the ending I'm not a big fan of because, most of the time, besides like Halloween 4, I do, that's an iconic ending. I don't like when, they set up an ending where it's like, okay, this is going to be the killer. So yeah, that's a con. Again, Tommy in this, I don't want to blame the actor, but, the writing, I mean, they don't give him really any lines. Out of the Tommies that we've had, he's my least favorite. And I'll say, some of the writing in this, like Triple Feature was saying, the random guy that winds up going to the hillbilly's house. He has like 2 scenes in this movie, and they just kill him off. It's like you don't know the character. So I would say writing, the Tommy character, and like the very end. Those are some complaints.
Yeah, a lot of people are complaining about the mother and son in the movie. I agree. That's also Oh no, just no. I hated because they're both always just screaming.
Yeah.
Like they're just screaming the whole time and cussing and yelling at each other and yelling at things. And it's just like, shut up, like go away. But yeah, what about you? What about you, Sam?
I think the biggest con of this movie is the film itself. I think its existence, is the biggest con. I think it does a disservice to humanity. And I think it does a disservice to the entire franchise. It's a stopgap that didn't need to exist, basically. The movie literally could not exist, and it wouldn't matter. You could move on to the next movie because the next time Tommy pops up, he's completely different. Doesn't even matter. So they just abandon it completely. So it's kind of one of those weird stopgaps where, unlike, say, like Halloween 3, which should exist, but you can watch it separate of the whole series. This one, you can watch separate of the series, but only if you want to maybe like commit suicide afterwards. And I think that's a good setup to let you know, like, there is no hope.
Yeah. Sam's not holding back, guys.
I don't like the movie.
All right. So ratings, I'm going to go. Oh man, Sam's not going to like this. I'm going to go with 6. I'm going to go with 6. I find enjoyment in the movie for what it is. And Deborah Voorhees alone gives like 2 points for this movie. Like it's like the ACT where you get points for writing your name. So 6 for me. What about you, Justin?
I mean, I'm gonna give it an 8.4. I mean, I could still watch this movie, and there are a lot of things I do love about it. It's definitely
no Christian, because we're covering the New Line movies and we're allowed to give more than 110. All right.
Wait till we get to the New Lines. But I'm gonna, like I said, 8.4. I said, I'm gonna give it an 8.4. When I first saw it, I loved it. Now I see more problems, and with that, it's a little bit more outdated.
Sam, are you going a 1 or are you going a 2?
Well, I just want to say that Justin is now my enemy for life. I just want to point that out. I will be disliking all of his videos and trolling him on a regular basis. I will find him in his movie theater and talk next to him the entire time.
Oh, yes.
I will be chatting it up the entire time right in his ear, and at the end I'll be like, "Did you like that? I enjoyed it." But I will be generous and I'll give it a 3. I'll be generous. I'll give it a 3 out of 10. And I'll say that I could see, maybe with a little nostalgia, which I don't have for it, I could see it being higher with some nostalgia if I'd seen it as a kid. And I could see at that time I have a little more love for it. As an adult and being mature and I've seen other films before, I have to give it lower. But yeah.
I respect it. You know, if you're gonna talk about the issues you have with it and then turn around and be like, but you know what, it's a 9 for me, then I feel like it's a little disingenuous. So I respect it. And Oracle says they're having a part 5 reunion in Chicago this summer, which I'm sure Sam is actually on his other screen right now getting tickets for it. So
I am getting front row tickets, and I want to get autographs from every actor, especially from the 2 hillbillies. Which yes. I'm guessing neither are still alive. That would just be my guess. But
they're alive.
They're alive.
Yeah, they're alive. I want to throw this in here real quick. I think if I had not seen this movie when I was younger, if I didn't have that nostalgic with it, I think this would have ranked lower for me. But being nostalgic for this movie and me being a kid looking at these films, and I was like, oh my gosh, these are awesome films. Yeah, that's why I give it an 8.4. It's hard for me to rank this one lower.
I totally respect it. And by the way, to everybody that was just harassing me in the chat about taking my hat off, this is why I wear hats, because I don't want to have to move hair every 5 seconds because it's annoying. But I'm doing this for you guys. I need a haircut. But okay, so let's get right into part. And I agree with you, Justin. It's nostalgia that makes me give it a 6. You know, if I had watched this movie at the age of 26 and had never seen it before when I was a child, I would have been like, what? Like, I get it. I totally get it. You know, speak your truth, man. But part 6, Jason lives. Jason is alive. He is Frankenstein's monster. Tommy Jarvis's friend is honestly the most spineless dude in the world. I don't think we should do this, man. Come on, man. Okay. No, I really don't think we should do this, man. Oh, come on, man. Okay. Like that whole sequence at the beginning with his friend trying to talk him out of it, and then continuing to just cave. And the lightning and everything. It's hokey. And a lot of people say that Part 6 is one of the first, I guess, mainstream like horror films that started to get into the meta aspects and be very self-aware. And it is at times. Sometimes I don't give it as much credit as some people say, like, oh, it's self-aware. It is, but I think some of it also is just because it's, it's not. I don't know. I digress. I know Justin loves this movie, and I really, really enjoy this movie. I will say Tommy, way better. Love the sheriff. I love the sheriff's character. I hate the fact that he was like, I'm not gonna listen to Tommy. I'm not even gonna check. Tommy's full of shit. And it's like, dude, just go check. Like, just literally just go check. Just once. Like, maybe follow up on one lead. But the whole time he's like, no, Tommy, you're wrong. Shut up. But I love the character, and I hated to see him die. I think the characters are better in this movie. I think the kills are cool. And overall, I think it's definitely a step up from Part 5. And I've liked it ever since I first saw it. I don't think I was ever lukewarm about the movie. But Justin, give me your thoughts.
All right. So, Part 6. Drew a blank on the title. Jason Lives. I don't know why that happened. I loved it when I first saw it. And I love it now. I think, a long time ago, it would not be my number one. It would definitely be like top 4 when I first saw it, but I love it now. It's my number one. I love it even more. I love CJ Graham as Jason. He's definitely one of my favorites. I think he did such an awesome job. Overall, love the characters. I love a lot of the lines in the movies. Like when you get the two characters in the beginning of the movie when they're in their car and they're driving to the camp, and you have all those great one-liners like when she just stops the car and he goes, "I was just kidding, Lisa." And she says, "We need to pull back." Why? Because I've never seen. Every time you see a guy with a hockey mask, it's never friendly. Like some of that stuff in it, I absolutely love. So characters are great. I think the kills are fun. I think they're great. The kills are fun and great. Love the soundtrack. I mean, Alice Cooper, awesome. I love Zombie Jason. I think this was a great way after people had mixed really negative feelings about Part 5. This was a great way to bring Jason back. Love Zombie Jason. Tom Matthews as Tommy Jarvis, great. Corey Feldman is great as Tommy, but Tom Matthews is my favorite Tommy. And no one really talks about Megan, the not the final girl in this, but the last girl alive. But I think Megan is a great character in this franchise. So, but yeah, I love this. Love it. All
right, Sam, did you like this one better than 5?
Oh yes, that wasn't tough. It was a step up immediately from 5. I was interested because I had no clue how they were going to bring Jason back to life. So I kind of started laughing immediately with the whole Frankenstein brought back to life. I was like, okay, they didn't take it very seriously, but I was fine with that. I was like, and I think pretty sure like the guy that works at the cemetery like looks at the screen, like he gives like a wink to the screen or something where he's like, why would you watch stuff like this? And he looks. I was like, okay, we're getting into the more jokey stuff. I don't quite understand. Sometimes I feel like the humor when they use like the goofy paintball guys. I'm not quite sure sometimes what they're going for with that, where they're like, it's such like whack. I feel like it's something from like Pee-wee's Big Adventure or something, but I'm not quite sure what they're going for humor wise. This was definitely more entertaining. I think it's a step down from the first 4, in my opinion, but then it's a step up from 5 because it took the series back to actually doing what it should do in the first place. I do wish they had done something a little cooler in bringing Jason back. Maybe, even if you have to do something like dumb like a seance, but something a little bit maybe to take a little bit more serious in a creepy way. But it wasn't. It was a step up. I will give it that. It was definitely a step up, and so I can't complain. I did not complain after watching Part 5.
Yeah. So right into some of my cons that I can think of off the top of my head with this movie. I think the police officers are really piss poor, and we get that a lot in horror movies, so it's to be expected. I mean, and I think that the whole relationship with Tommy and the sheriff's daughter and how they're all just, they're very, oh, great, they're in love because she believed him, and I get it. I'm not hating on it. It's just like whatever. Like I could do without it. I think, as I said, it tried to walk the line of being like meta and self-aware and being funny. And I think it does it at some points, like what you were talking about, Justin, what you were talking about with the one-liners and stuff like that. Like they nail some of that comedy, but then at other points in this movie, it feels like they're not trying to be funny and it kind of is funny. And you're kind of like, that's not supposed to be funny, but it's a sixth movie in a horror franchise. So you really shouldn't expect Pulp Fiction. Having said that, I really enjoy the movie. If I'm gonna rate it, I think I'm gonna give Part 6. I'll give it a 6.5, 7. I'll give it a 7. Justin, do you have a con, and what's your rating?
I really don't have a con, but I will say again, the cops, like I don't understand why when Tommy arrives to the police station, like they're so against him, like right away. I'm like, come on. Like you said, I don't want to say it's a con, but that for me is like, okay, this guy's serious. Like, listen to him. And if you go there and you don't see anything, but like they just seem to dislike him right away. But for me, as far as like a rating goes, I'm just gonna say it. I give it a 10. I love this movie so much. I absolutely love it. It is my favorite of the franchise. Oh,
I know it is, and that's why I knew it was coming. I was like, here comes the 10. Justin, no holes barred, man. And Sam, how we feeling?
Okay, so my cons of this movie. One, I mean, I understood that he does. Yeah, he shows up. They all know him as being nuts. So I kind of understand the idea of the setup of the cops being like, you're crazy. That's a typical horror setup of, the person you can't believe, and then they're coming saying stuff. So I was okay with that. You had the thing that always drives me insane in these movies is there's almost always a girl, and she immediately falls in love and believes the hot dude. And she's immediately like, I will betray my father and everybody else because this man is hot. And I'm pretty sure he was wearing a jean jacket, if I remember correctly. He was hitting the denim hard. Yeah. So I understand, like I get it, but it's always that thing where she's willing to like go on a chase and do all of these things for this person she does not know at all, like whatsoever. And I'm always like, okay, this girl deserves to die for this, actually, like because most likely in real life nobody's actually come back to life and is killing anybody. So the fact that she immediately believes this guy in prison who's known as being nuts. She should. Now, of course, he happens to be correct. The other thing for me is, some of the goofiness of a lot of this, of some of the stuff, like I said, the paintballers. I always wonder when, like, at the end of this, where he's like, "We've got to get him back to where he started. We got to go back to Crystal Lake," and I'm like, "Why? Like, why? What? Like, what is the thinking behind that? We need to get him in the lake. Like, why? Like, there was never a revelation that happened during it where he went, "Oh, I get it." Like, we had some revelation. It's all of a sudden it's an idea. And then Tommy's running with this idea, and I'm like, I'm not sure why this idea supposedly should work. Like, why would this, there's no real thought behind it. And I'm like, it would take a 10-second explanation to run through the movie and kind of get an idea of why he needs to go back in the water and all this different stuff. Now, again, why is go back? I don't know. Is with Jason in the second one, it said that he's they're like, well, he didn't drown. He came back and he saw his mom. For some reason, he never told his mom he was alive, but he watched her die, and then he was just living in the woods. But then later, it sounds like in a lot of the movies they talk about it, so maybe he did drown, and he's like a demon in some sort. So, so this idea of what he is and what he isn't, it was smart to bring him back to life as kind of a zombie character because it finally allowed them to just do what they want to do with him in the first place, which is let him take gunshot wounds and let him and come back to life a million times. So.
Yeah,
and I'll give this one a 6 out of 10, just like the original. Though I like the original more because I think the original it's just a little more unique overall.
Yeah. Okay.
I just want to throw this in here. I would not do what Megan does in this movie, but if I saw Tom Matthews, I'd be like, glancing at him. I'd be like, it's the hair, it's the eyes. I don't know what it is. I'd be like, Megan, you're a little crazy for following him. But yeah, the first time I saw Tom Matthews, I was like, okay.
Hey, Jamie said in 1986, any dude in a jean jacket could get my attention, especially if it was covered in patches and concert pins. So,
absolutely.
You know,
if he had a pretty face, still today, I'd be like, you know what? You have a jean jacket, but I love your face.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Part 7. I'm sure this is another one that Sam loves. Part 7, A New Blood. What did I think when I first saw it? Was never a huge fan of it. Was never a big fan of it. I don't hate the movie. I think that the idea. Well, first of all, I think the whole like Carrie versus Jason thing is definitely a cool idea because it's, you know, Jason's almost kind of met his match. It seems like but from the opening, I was frustrated because I'm like, 5 seconds ago, you're yelling at your dad basically about how you hate him. And then when your anger causes his death, you're like, Daddy, no. It's like, do you hate him or do you love him? Like, what? I get it. I'm nitpicking. But so it was hard to get into. It picks up. I think it does well in the middle portion of the movie. I do like some of the kills. And then the ending loses me. The ending absolutely loses me. And, you know, for whatever reason, I don't know. You've seen it, you know, the ending. It loses me a bit. I was not a huge fan of it when I first saw it. Upon rewatches, I enjoy it more than I did. But this is not a particularly great movie, in my opinion. So Parker loves Jason in this movie. Yeah, I mean, Jason is fine. But, you know, it's just, for me, it's not one of my favorites. But Justin, what do you think?
All right, so when I first saw New Blood, I did love the movie. Again, as a kid, I was like, these movies are awesome. Now, watching it years and years later, it's definitely not one of my favorites. It's not a terrible movie. I just think it definitely has its hokey moments in the story. I love the final girl, but she's not like, and I love, and I'm probably going to mispronounce her name, Laura Park Lincoln, Tina. I think she's great. She's not one of my favorite final girls. There's a couple moments in the beginning of the movie where the lead guy is like, you know, trying to talk to her and she kind of snips at him a little bit. So, you know, not one of my favorite final girls. Again, I love Laura, just not one of my favorite final girls. Yeah, it's a hokey one. And we're going to get to the next one and I'll have things to say about that. But I think as far as like one of my go-to Friday the 13th films, it's definitely not one of those. However, I do find some really enjoyable moments with this. I love Kane Hodder as Jason. I think this is the best Jason has looked. I love the details in the movie, like on his body. Like it's, you know, the director, what is his name? John Carl
Beekler. Yep.
Thank you. Rest in peace. I love the fact that, you know, he was a special effects guy. So like he wanted to add all the detail that the previous Jasons had and made it his own. So I love that. You know, and this is going to be a complaint, and, you know, I feel bad for this movie, but, you know, Paramount for some reason did not like the Friday 13th film. So they really cut out a lot of the kills in this, or they just reduced it. And I think if we would have been able to see like the uncut version of this movie, it might have been better. So,
well,
yeah.
We get that. Yeah, we get that. We're going to be getting into that with, honestly, these next few movies, honestly. So, but yeah, I totally agree. I already gave my cons too. So before we get into rating, Sam, if you want to talk about what you think of it, give your cons, and then we'll get into rating.
So I think I'm going to differ a little bit here. I think this one was a step up from last one too. And why I would say that is because one, the series isn't taken seriously in general, right? The story isn't taken seriously, and I like the idea of having this girl that had some sort of power. Now, I don't think it came to fruition the way it should have. I think they could have done some amazing things with her mind power when fighting Jason. some really cool things of maybe throwing him or making it, an arm, leg explode, an actual fight between them. I think they could have really built that up. Now, I did like that idea a lot they had of her, and so it made it kind of interesting. I did think again that the doctor that she was with had deeper motives. I thought, okay, he's bringing Jason back for some reason. He's using her to bring Jason back, and then that turned out to not be the case at all. So I was let down by the fact that I thought we were again headed to somewhere a little different. But bringing that in and having kind of an opening story with the dad, even though it's really funny, even at the end, the hero is a drunk wife abuser. He's like, but I'm back with some chains. I did like the fact that they took it. The story, once you brought Jason back to life, you opened it up for the fact that we could have people with special powers. I felt like it was the world that could exist in that sort of way that didn't feel like in the early ones. So having that, I was like, okay, I think this one overall for me becomes more entertaining because of that, because of the crazy, but it just didn't go all the way. I'm like, just take me there, baby. Take me there. Like, you've got it. You're making it insane. Go all the way. And it's kind of like, again, like a movie like we're talking like Halloween 3. The plot is ridiculous, but it goes all in on the plot, right? Just go all in. You got a girl that can, she's seeing future things. She can do stuff with her mind. Let's do more than just electrocute Jason.
Yeah.
Let's do more. Let's go all the way in. And so in that way, the movie's disappointment, but I found it more interesting because of that, of those plot points than the previous two.
Well, then I'll just start with you. What's your rating?
I'd probably give this one probably a 6.8.
Justin?
I'm gonna real quick. I keep forgetting things, but I will say this: like the battle between Tina and Jason at the end is great. I think, as far as like a final girl, yeah, she did a great job towards the end. I love that battle. I'm gonna give this one. I'm gonna give it a 7.9.
Okay.
Again, I don't love it, but I definitely enjoy the movie.
I'm going to give this one a solid middle of the road 5. It is not a bad movie. It's just personally not one of my favorites. So I'm going to give it a 5. I will say it is average because there was a lot of potential there. And I think that I mentioned what I think they missed a little bit on, but that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say 5. So now we're going to get into the next 3 films, which are probably the most controversial. And I can't wait to talk about them. And the first one is Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. And one thing I will let everybody know, I didn't see Jason Takes Manhattan. It was one of the last, I think it was the last one I saw, when I was younger. And did not like it. I did not like it. There was some cool kills that were completely neutered. So there was no gore almost. The lava rock kill, for example, in the spa or in the sauna could have been gory and beautiful. Nope. MPAA said no. The bathroom kill of that. Oh God. What's her face? Oh my Lord. I can't remember her name, but the one that sets up the teacher or whatever, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. That
bathroom kill could have been gory and beautiful. It wasn't really. I know that's not necessarily the movie's fault. That's the MPAA. That's Paramount. That's, the big wigs. But I loved dude getting his head punched off. I thought that was funny. I mean, it was fun. But man, obviously the biggest complaint everybody has is the marketing. The marketing lying about, pretty much. I mean, I don't know if you call it lying, but yeah, pretty much misleading you. Oh, hey guys, Jason is going to take on Manhattan. It's going to be great. And only one shot in this movie took place in New York. One shot. So it's a little bit like you're kind of a dick. It's kind of how people felt about Halloween 3. So I get the frustration about it. But the ending is super weird. Like, that is an ending that I don't think I will ever be a fan of. Like, I don't think I can ever come around on that ending. I talked to Christian about it. He's like, oh no, but you got to understand, man, it's Part 8. Nothing in the movie made sense up to that point. It's fun. It's like, yeah, but I just, no, I really can't do it with that ending. So yeah, those are my cons. That's how I feel about the movie. Definitely not one of my favorites. Justin, what about you?
All right, so I'm gonna go crazy here. Jason Takes Manhattan. So when I first saw it, it was one of say like 8-year-old me when I saw this for the first time on TV, it creeped me out as a kid. But like when I got reintroduced to the movie, I think when I got the Camp Crystal Lake to Manhattan box set, I enjoyed it. It wasn't one of my favorites, definitely at the time. But now, I mean, you know, and I'll talk about the problems I have with it, but I have a soft spot for this. I do love this movie.
You and your part eights. Resurrection too.
Okay, first of all, Resurrection is not a movie I love.
No, but you have a soft spot.
I do. I mean, some of these movies, I just go back and look at it and go, okay, I had a great time watching that when I first saw it.
Hey, I can respect it. I can respect it.
But I do love this movie. Again, we'll talk about the problems in a second, but I think this movie for me, for some reason, is a go-to one. And I love, you know, some of the songs in this movie. You got the opening song. You got some great kills like the
JJ.
JJ, yes, JJ. And I even love this song, and I've been trying to look it up on YouTube. The song where he's like just like guitaring it out. Like I'm like, yes, JJ, you rock. I wish there was more JJ in this movie, to be honest.
We also got shape-shifting Jason. He can teleport. Yeah.
That's true. We got that. I do like the head punching scene. That's awesome death. But yeah, I just find this movie to be just really, really, really entertaining. So yeah, I love this movie. I can understand the problems, and we'll talk about that in a second. But
well, I was gonna say, go ahead and group it. Give me if you could think of cons or just one con.
It is crazy because I do love this movie, but I see the problems with this. Like, I wish we would have got to see the kills full cut. I don't know why. Again, I really don't understand why Paramount in the 80s was like, we're going to cut these kills. Like New Blood, they did that with New Blood. They did it with this movie. I wish we would have gone to see more New York. I think when they were making this movie, or they, you know, just promoted this film, like Takes Manhattan, maybe they had a bigger budget, and Paramount was like, we're going to cut this budget down. So I think they did that. I think the characters overall, not some of the most memorable characters. I mean, Jenny's okay, but she's probably my least favorite final girl out of the first 8 movies. But yeah, I love this though. So I see problems, but I do love the movie. I'm entertained by it a lot.
Yeah, sorry, Junior's having a meltdown in the chat right now. It's just making me laugh. But all right, Sam,
they're like, Justin, what are you thinking down there? What are you thinking? And I'm like, I'm sorry.
No, he's just having his own personal meltdown. He'll be all right.
This is classic Junior. Classic Junior.
All right, thoughts on part 8?
One, the main girl, does she have powers or something? I don't feel like it's ever said. Like, she's like seeing Jason as a kid. She's like seeing these visions, and I kept thinking, okay, this is tying it a bit with New Blood or something. She also has powers, but then it never really came around. I wasn't quite sure, but I liked it. I liked the fact that she looked and saw like drowning Jason, that kind of stuff. I liked it. I just wish it made some sort of sense. Okay, so number one, at the beginning of this movie, bringing Jason back by being electrocuted again or something under the water, I was like, okay, we've just given up. Trying to bring him back. We're not even thinking of a cool way. And then he kills somebody on the boat with the slowest death. He just slowly bring it, and the person just screaming as it's slow. You know, it was the Austin Powers death, right? Where he's going to hit the guy with the little thing. It was basically that death. And then, okay, maybe I missed something. How does Jason get from Crystal Lake out into like the ocean and climbing up on the boat? It just cuts, and he's climbing up the boat. I was like, what the frick? Like, how did he get here? Was there an answer for that? Does someone have an answer for that?
I think I understand. I mean, again, I forgot to say, the writing's just not the best at times, because you're like, okay, like you said, he goes from here to there. He literally took that boat that he killed that couple on in the beginning. And I think that's how he got to where he needed to go. But again, you know, writing, they don't really explain that too much in this movie.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how the Crystal Lake, then he could take a boat out of there. But I don't know. I don't know about maritime law or anything like that. But I do know that he climbs on board, and you have like the teacher who's like the meanest person alive. He's just mean the whole time. How many kids are on this boat? They're like boxing down in a place, but there's like 10 kids. There's the guy that's like fighting with his dad who's trying to teach him how to be a captain. And I'm like, ooh, this is the plot line I need right now. Like they're trying to set up plot lines and not really going anywhere with them. Like you said, they needed to play the Lonely Island song, I'm on a boat, during it. That's what I kept thinking I was hearing, because I was like, when does he get? So I'd never seen this. I was like, when does he get to Manhattan? When does this exactly happen? So he's on the boat the whole time. And, he's obviously taking people out they're obviously cutting out a lot of these deaths. And I'm just kind of like, whatever. They get to Manhattan, and that's when the part it starts feeling like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or something. But they get on thinking, when he does, I knew it was going to happen. I'm like, when does the guy start trying to box? They set it up, right? If he's going to box, he's going to have to try to box Jason. And they have the longest scene of him, that guy punching Jason towards back. And I kept thinking this was not going to have a payoff. And then when Jason stopped and gave an uppercut from, Super Punch Out, took his head directly off, I was like, okay, this is the best part of the whole film. It just that part did not take itself seriously at all. Other than that, I would say this movie should be set on fire. Now, maybe there's an uncut version, like you said. The deaths could be better. Maybe they explain some more things. They couldn't even seduce the bad teacher and make him into a full villain. The guy actually had the morals to go, no, thank you, after a certain point. So I was like, I guess they're trying to make him complicated. But and I was like, where's this headed to? Again, it went nowhere. And so doing all these things all the way to the death in the sewers and stuff, I was just kind of like, again, it felt like a movie where I was like, I feel like this is part of a movie, and I missed a lot of wherever they cut out. They cut out plot points, how he got there. They cut out the kills. They cut out understanding why the girl's seeing things. I think there might be a decent film or a not terrible film that's sitting somewhere in its original form, and with an actual title of what the real title originally was, which is Jason Takes a Boat. And or whatever. I don't know what it was. Jason goes on a cruise, something, but it was a whole thing. But there's something way better out there.
That was called Jason's Vacation.
There you go,
and it's catchy. Jason's Vacation. Yeah. It was just supposed to be him getting on a boat and going on vacation, and then that's what it was. But I agree, man. Jill wants to know when I'm going to show my son horror for the first time. Oh, he already watches it. Like, he doesn't watch it, but like when I was rewatching these movies for our You Need a Horror podcast episode, he was in the family room with me. He's 1.5, so he has no idea what's going on. And my mom would say to me too, when she comes and visits, you're not going to let him watch this crap. I'm like, he already does. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I remember in part 3, like the whole ending sequence with Chris and him in the barn, and she's like screaming. It's loud. It's very like action packed, and he's just like staring at the screen, like, what is going on? I'm like, that's right. So there's your answer, Jill. All right, let's go ahead. Let's rate this bad boy. Sam, what do you rate it?
This one's like, okay, so this isn't as bad as number 5 for me, because then there's some things. So I'll give this one a 4. But it is very forgettable. Yeah.
Yep.
Bleh. Okay, I'll give it to Justin. Like when Justin goes,
Can I? I'm going to do my JJ impersonation and go 8. I give it an 8 because, again, I see the problems, but like I gave New Blood 7.9. I give this one an 8. I like this one better. So I don't know what it is. Again, I see the problems.
Fighting words. Them's are fighting words.
Triple Feature and I are perfectly in sync with this one. I'm giving it a 4. If it wasn't so much dumb fun, sometimes it'd be lower. But part of the reasons why this movie suffers in quality is part of the reason why it's kind of enjoyable in like a guilty pleasure type of way. And I saw a tweet going around the other day that was like, don't call movies guilty pleasures. That's elitist bullshit. No one's too good for a movie. I'm sorry. No, you're saying it's a guilty pleasure basically says, I know it's not good, but I kind of like it. And, Jason Takes Manhattan, I can watch it. I can have fun. I mean, I don't hate myself after I watch the movie. Freddy's dead. Anyway, so we're getting right into a new line now. New line, the rebirth. Jason goes to HE double hockey sticks. And when I first saw the movie, I'm going to be honest with you guys. When I first saw Jason Goes to Hell, I really, really hated it. And still to this day, I've given it a couple watches, and I'm like, you know what? Now that I've watched it a couple times and let it marinate, I still really hate it. So not much that I can really say. I do like. I'll give a couple positives because Justin is positivity. I want to give you positives, Justin. I like the touch of the Kandarian dagger and the Necronomicon. I do. Yeah. I think that's kind of like a cool wink and nod. Luckily, they didn't address it, thank God, because then you're really going to open Pandora's box if you address that. But I like that wink and nod. I like the 5 minutes of Kane Hodder that we really get to see in action. And I love the ending. I mean, everybody loves the very end with Freddy's glove coming up and pulling the mask down with the laugh. Like, love that. Demon Slug, Jason, no. SWAT team, FBI, luring Jason into a field, blowing him up, no. No. Just, I'm not a fan. So, Justin, Jason Goes to Hell.
Oh, gosh. So, like...
I'm going to give this one an 11 out of 10. It's my favorite.
It's my favorite one. No, it's not my favorite. The first time I saw it, though, I did. Oh my gosh, can't believe I'm going to say this. Well, the first time I saw it, again, I was young. I did love it when I first saw it. It was Jason. It was a Jason movie. But now, watching it all these years later,
is it a Jason movie though? Is it?
It's technically a Jason. I mean,
I'm just giving you a hard time.
New Line for me is like the ones overall that people just seem to forget. Paramount had something special. Even the ones that were not the best, there was something special about them. It was the 80s. It was Paramount. I love the Paramounts overall. This one right here, I enjoy it. I don't love it now. I enjoy it. I like the fact that they attempted to go more serious again. They attempted it. Not memorable characters. I think Rusty Joe, like she's the manager at the restaurant. Yeah, she's not likable, but she's got some great lines, and her death is awesome. There's when you watch the unrated cut, there are some great deaths. Now, if you watch the theatrical version, yeah, do not watch that one. But yeah, I enjoy it. It's not something where I'm like, oh, I really love that about this movie. But I enjoy it. I think Kane Hodder, and I forgot to mention, I love Kane Hodder. Let's see.
Jamie agrees with me.
Hey, it's
Hey,
I
love Rob. We love Rob Zombie's Halloween too, Justin. We get it. Okay, yeah, we get it. You might love a movie that a lot of people hate or enjoy. Just enjoy it. Whatever. I respect your opinion, buddy. You know that. I just like to give you a hard time sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah. Don't be mad at me.
It's okay. When we get to the problems, I'll tell you my problems with it.
Well, you can tell me right now because I already gave mine, so you can bundle it, and then Sam can bundle his. What are your problems?
I mean, okay. I will say this. Like, yeah, like I said, when I first saw it, I was like, this is a Jason movie. But now it's like, it doesn't work because we love Jason, and I love Kane Hodder as Jason. I mean, come on, give him more stuff in this movie. Characters, again, not very memorable characters.
My favorite character was the baby.
You what?
My favorite character is the baby.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Most likable character.
Yeah, the baby. Yeah, the most likable character, because I don't really care for the lead girl. The lead guy, I'm like, he's trying to be funny in this, but it's like really awkward comedy. Not a fan. So characters.
They also tried to make him like this hero, this misunderstood hero that's going to rise from the ashes at the end and save everyone. And I'm like, nah,
he's not believable. I love the opening up until the part where he gets blown up. I like the fact that they kind of when if I would have saw this in theaters back in early 90s and saw the opening, I would have loved it, and then I could understand why people really hated the movie where they blew him up. Again, a lot of problems writing, not enough Jason.
I like the police officer getting into the shower. That was cool. But everything after that, she's whatever, but
Again, I enjoy it. It's got a lot of problems though, so
Yeah.
I can't say I love it, but I can enjoy the movie and have decent time.
All right, triple feature. Let's go.
All right. So first off, I think this is very clear that someone wrote a script that they turned into a Jason movie. I don't know the particulars, but it seems obvious. They had a script for a horror film. They were like, let's turn it into a Jason, like they've done with a lot of the. You can tell that they've done with a lot of the Hellraiser movies. They're like, this isn't a Hellraiser movie, but we'll throw in the Cenobites at the very end, and now we'll make it a Hellraiser movie. So they did that sort of thing. Now, with that said, this is the first I saw this as a kid, actually. So I begged my dad to be able to see this. Not much of it stuck out to me, except for the opening. I remembered the opening a bit. I think it's because I was like 10, and I was like, whoa, a lot of nudity real quick here. I was like, whoa. And it was different than Total Recall nudity. There was only 2 boobs this time. So it was more realistic. Yeah. But so in this movie, I would say this is what I'll say about this movie. One, I think it is the best. It has the best and worst of both things. The worst being the scene where they're in prison and the guy's breaking the guy's fingers. Because he's like, give me info. And he's like, okay, but you've got to pay something. One, I don't know why he's breaking his fingers. Number 2, I don't know why he believes him so much to let him break his fingers. There was nothing that made sense in that entire scene. I was like, I'm missing something here. I don't understand. The whole scene was just ridiculous. And yes, this movie lacks a lot of Jason. But I will say that when the kills start up, and I think I saw pretty much the uncut version, like when they go into the diner and they kill people, the practical effects at the end is what I'm looking for in these movies in the first place. The practical effects of people dying, the hands coming up and grabbing Jason in the ground, his body coming, all of those things were the things that I was most looking for that I didn't get that much of in the rest of the series. Yep. I think practical effects, like the practical effects, they're like God. I love just practical effects when you have that sort of thing and you take the chance to be able to do it. And this movie did do that overall. I thought the main guy, I'm not sure, was he a nerd? I don't know what he was. I'm not sure what he was supposed to be. And again, I could tell the whole time this in the Necronomicon, they do throw it in there. And I was like, I don't know what they're trying to set up here with Evil Dead. I don't know if they're trying to do a crossover or what. Or if the director just thought that was really funny to do. But they set all this stuff up. And so when the end of the movie came, I was like, okay, this is not anywhere near the bottom of the list for me because of those factors, because of what I was looking for overall. Because I was like, look, the series doesn't make any sense anyways. And this movie makes 0 sense. It's not even a movie. But by the end, I could see how there was enough scenes that I was impressed by. But I was, not impressed by the story. But overall, a lot of the effects and stuff that they did. I just wish they would have had those effects for the entire thing and just let Jason be in it.
Yeah, look, well, real quick about the Necronomicon. The filmmaker said, what did he say? Was it Sean S. Cunningham? No.
Well, he didn't. He produced it.
But he said that the idea was that they were basically saying that the reason Jason keeps coming back is because Jason is a Deadite, and luckily they never addressed it in a future movie because you would have gotten a lot of people like that. Makes no sense, but that's what that throw-in was okay. Well, this is why he keeps coming back because he can't die, really. But for my rating for Jason Goes to Hell, oh my god, sorry, I was getting a call. Sam, we lost. Okay, there you go. Never mind. That was on my end. So for my rating for Jason Goes to Hell, and I'm sorry, it's a 1. It's a 1. It is my least favorite Friday the 13th movie by far. It doesn't even feel like a Friday the 13th movie to me. I don't like it. I don't like it. If you do like it, people in the chat, Justin saying, if you guys like it, like, dude, more power to you. I just can't get into it. I don't know. So, Justin, what do you think?
I'm going to give this one, I'm going to give it a 5.5. I mean, it's again, I will say this about the writer, and I think this is what kind of makes me a little bit mad now watching this is I haven't watched his interview on this Scream Factory release, but apparently he says, I hated the Friday the 13th movies before this. he wanted to write this movie to pretty much make people mad. Like just down the Paramount movies. So I think that's another reason why I don't like this movie as much anymore. So I'm going to give it a 5.5. Like he wrote this, they said, write a Jason movie. And he was like, well, I'm going to write a Jason movie. Here's what I'm going to write. So I'm giving it a 5.5.
All right. What about you, Sam?
I'm gonna give it a 6.5. I'm gonna go higher than everybody else, a little higher than the 1, which I think is disrespectful. I don't, I think this movie's nowhere near as bad as Part 5. I think this is, compared to 5, I wouldn't say it's not The Godfather, but compared to number 5, but I would say it's a definitely more solid filmmaking overall. And again, I think the special effect, it's just a weird film, and I can see how for most people, especially again, if you love Jason and you have nostalgia for Jason, then I can see people just being like, F this film. This is not what I'm here for. For someone like me, where I probably say this series compared to, Nightmare series and this is the weakest for me of all the series. Therefore, I'm okay with doing something a little crazy because I think the series is just nuts and it doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I'll give it a 6.5.
All right, guys. That's Jason Goes to Hell. I was surprised that it got a lot more love from these two, and it got poopied on by me. But I think this next one, all three of us are going to have some not so great thoughts on, but we'll get into it. Jason X. Jason Goes to Space. Jason, Uber Jason Terminator. Whatever the hell you want to talk about when it comes to Jason X. First and foremost, when I first watched it, I actually liked it. When I was a kid, like I did, I was like, oh, this is awesome. This is fun. Uber Jason looks badass. Like, I can't believe I thought that as a kid, because now I watch it and I'm like, oh my God, these effects are terrible. I completely understand what the issue was with New Line was basically like, well, we want to make another Friday the 13th movie, but here, dude, take this. We want to make another Friday the 13th movie, but we don't want to mess up the timeline that we've set up when it comes to introducing Freddy and Jason to each other. So it's like, well, what do we do? Okay, let's make a movie that's set in the future so we can go back and see Jason, but it's not messing up with the timeline we're setting up, right? Cool, awesome. Yeah, we outsmarted everyone. My God, CGI is bad. The writing is bad. The characters are bad. The setting is terrible. It just doesn't age well. And they made the movie and it got shelved for over a year for a reason, because they didn't want to put this movie out. They made it. They saw the final product and they were like, oh my God. And they put it out there because they had already made it. So you might as well recoup your losses, try to make as much money back as you can. But I really, 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 really hated this movie for years. And now I've come around to be like, it's so bad, it's fun. Like, it's so bad, it's a fun time. Like, I can watch this movie and, like, robot nipples falling off and, it's dumb, but, like, it's fun. I don't know. For me, it's just, I love the simulation where he takes the two girls in the sleeping bags and is, like, beating them to death against the trees. That I loved that as a kid. But, yeah, it's so bad, it's good in the sense that it's enjoyable. But it's not a good movie. Justin, what do you think?
Liked it when I first saw it. My mom hated it. I was like, I don't understand why you hate this, but I liked it when I first saw it. Now I'm with you. I have so many problems with this movie. Writing, characters, bad CGI effects. There's some pretty cool kills though, like the smashing of the head. That's a pretty awesome kill. I think that's the only one that I remember that I would say that I out of the kills I think is great. Comedy doesn't work here. I don't like the comedy. You could tell like they were trying to be serious, but it was like, I think the strongest thing about this is having Kane Hodder, because you could tell he loves playing Jason. And if you ever see his documentary that he did, it's fantastic. He talks about, playing Jason and he loves it. So that's the strongest point about this. But like you, it's so bad it's entertaining. Like I can watch this movie, have a good time with it. It's my least favorite of the franchise, but it's not Freddy's Dead bad.
Yes.
That I cannot watch.
Can't wait till we do our Nightmare episode. That's gonna
Yeah.
be fun. I'm gonna tear that movie a new asshole.
Hey,
So,
that's
yes.
the goat. That's
So-
the goat. You all know it.
Jason X.
Power
So
glove.
entertaining. So bad it's entertaining for me.
Okay. All right, Sam, what do you think?
I love this movie. I think the sets were obviously high budget. I think when you watch the sets and you're like, how much like this? I think you look at his ship. I was like, this ship alone must have been $30 million. The actors obviously all went on. I think all of them you've seen in great films since then. I think that I'm trying to think of all the awesome stuff in this film. I do. I think that they set up your girl that survives, and I love when a girl survives and then she goes to the future and starts telling everybody else what to do. I love the pilots that are gritty, but not really gritty. I think one of the things that, I think, you got to have the android. You've got to, I think you've got the military. One of the things I love, this is just something I love in films. I love when you show a ship or an area and you have no clue where you are. The whole time you're like, how big is this ship? How many people are in this ship? And that's like one of the things, because it gets your blood going, because you're just like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know how any of this works. And I think one of my favorite things is when I watch something and I keep thinking I'm watching Stargate Atlantis, but then I find out I'm not watching Stargate Atlantis. And the CGI, I was like, this is probably the best. This is, other than Jurassic Park for the time, I think this was probably the best CGI I've ever seen. And then at the end, you have Jason's going around, he's killing everybody, they're making jokes, all the jokes work, they're all funny, they're just joke after joke landing. I could tell, I was like, obviously somebody, a high level comedian, Louis C.K. or somebody else that's a comedian but problematic, probably wrote this. And because you're just like, they obviously, the script must have went, I don't know how many. There was probably no revisions, because why revise anything, right? When you're watching this, why would I revise any of this movie? It's just the whole thing makes perfect sense. It's all really good. Jason becomes kind of like Super Jason in about 10 seconds, which I liked. He just all of a sudden he gets taken over, which they don't really set up. But they're like, of course, now he gets perfect armor, and now he's back and he's going to be able to take everybody. He rips through the side of a ship, which I love. The ship was made of tinfoil. So that made sense, I thought. And then the thing I loved most, the thing that got me the most excited, I ripped my shirt off, I started oiling up because I was pumped during the scene, was I love that they built this entire city out in space that could be taken out completely by one runaway ship. Like, the entire thing explodes. Like, whoever in the future is building these things, I don't know who it is, but I love that, because I'm like, good. They obviously have no regulations when it comes to space of how things are supposed to be built. The person building it's obviously probably the people that builds the houses in Haiti. And, it's just like, they drive in, the whole thing just explodes. You're like, what the frick? I was like, why is everything just exploding thing? So, 10 out of 10.
Awesome. So let's get right into our ratings then. I'm going to give Jason X a 2.
So I'm going to be a little bit more nice. I'm going to give it a 4.
I like it more. Okay, on a serious tip here, I enjoy it overall more than. Sorry. Sure. No, that was. Sorry, I shouldn't. I would say that it's a worse movie than Manhattan, but I could watch it more than Manhattan because of it's so dumb in so many ways, and it knows it's so stupid. So I'll give it a 4.5. But I don't want to sit through it again. I'm not going to choose probably to do it.
I want to throw this in with Jason X, and just with I'm not all horror movies that are in space, because Alien is fantastic. I think if this movie had more of a budget and it had that dark, gritty look that Alien had, and better acting all around, it could have potentially been good. I mean, I don't mind a space horror movie, but is it as bad as Leprechaun 4? Absolutely not. Leprechaun 4 is horrible. But if you had that look and feel of Alien, it could have been much better.
I agree with Justin. I think Alien was very much a low rent Jason X. I think we both can all agree on that. The android in this was much better. Like Alien and Aliens had the whole milk pouring out of them and all the stuff, and they're talking and stuff, and people go, oh, because it looks cooler, even though it was made all the way back in the 70s. But that doesn't matter. I think this one was even cooler because she had detachable nipples. And so I think this is obviously one that was cool. And she had a love story with the guy that we cared a lot about. I'm the guy that she has the love story for. I kept going like, I love this guy's backstory. And I love, so their love, I hope he just ends with her head, if I remember correctly. So it's just him and her head, and it'll probably end up it's already a weird love story. It's already going in odd places. But I like that. I like unconventional love stories that push against what society says is okay. And I think that's one of the things in the future with robots, for sure.
Absolutely.
So, love is love.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, Freddy versus Jason. I don't want to spend a ton of time on this one, guys. I just want your quick thoughts on it. For me, I think it's fun, but that's about all I can really say for it. And I like the final battle. I really do. There's some cool kills in it, and I like that they brought God, what is that? What's the sanitarium called, Justin, from Nightmare on Elm Street?
I'm drawing a blank on it.
I can't remember.
Comments. I'm drawing. I'm going to say Springwood Sanitarium.
I can't remember what it was, but I want to say it starts with a D, but I don't know. It's fun if you're watching it just to have fun. Weston Hills, yes, thank you, Jamie. But as far as the characters, the plot. It's just weird. It's weird for me. It's a fun time. I mean, it really is. It's cool to see the two guys, duke it out. But those are really my thoughts on it. And my rating for Freddy versus Jason is probably a 4.5, 5, something like that. Like it's so average to right on the cusp of being average that it's very, I don't know. If it wasn't for Freddy and Jason facing off, it'd be very forgettable. But that's how I feel. What about you, Jason? Or what about you, Justin?
Sorry, I have to put my charger on real quick, guys. Be right with you guys. Sorry. Okay. I would say for me, when I first saw this movie, I loved it. It was cool to see. I remember going to Terminator 3 and seeing the teaser for this, and I was like, this is gonna be awesome. Loved it when I first saw it. It's definitely lost quality over time. I still really like it. I don't like some of the lines in the movie. I think losing Kane Hodder as Jason, you could definitely now when you watch it, you could tell that, Kane's not there. No disrespect to the guy who played Jason, you could just tell. Love Robert Englund as Freddy. He's awesome in this. It's a fun movie. It loses the quality from when I first saw it. So,
what do you rate it?
I'm gonna rate it. I am gonna give it. I'm gonna be nice though. I'm gonna give it like a 6.4. I don't think it's a bad movie. I just think that it loses quality.
All right, Sam.
You guys are both disrespectful to this film. The disrespect is it's thick, just like I like my Jasons. But so I saw this movie in theaters, and it was really good, dumb fun. It is a Freddy movie. Let's just be honest. It's a Freddy movie featuring Jason. But I love the opening. I love how they do the whole opening, and he stabs that guy through, and his mom comes out and's yelling at him. They're messing with his head. I've heard some people say they don't like that he's so manipulated in this one, that's not the real character. But I feel like one of the big things about Jason is how manipulated it is through the whole series. And he's manipulated too big time by Corey Feldman and by the girl in the second one. So I thought that all made sense. His kills in here, I really enjoyed. The movie could be stronger with a little bit more padding in the editing with some of the characters before some characters fully buy into what's happening. They kind of jump a little too quick where some people are like, okay, like I understand. I'm like, this is so far fetched. You're not gonna buy this that quick. I think the last fight I love, especially when it gets to the end. I mean, I mostly don't like Freddy being funny, but this one I think when they're fighting, he's actually funny. I'm okay with it. I'm not sure about like right when they see each other, we have to hit some hardcore power chords on metal on playing some metal riffs, but them fighting and him at the end where Freddy's like chopping arms off, stabbing him in the eyes. Freddy jumps out turns into that demon Freddy, comes out slow-mo. All of that stuff. This it's not a Jason movie, but I will say this: if it was a Jason movie, and everybody just calm down here for a second, it's my favorite. It's actually my favorite. But I don't really consider it a Jason movie, and I think that's the thing. I think Jason plays a good side character in this that's building up. But I love that they bring him. He's like drowning. I don't like the pinball part. That part makes me angry. When they bounce around like a pinball, I don't need stupid things like that. But the fact that like Freddy turns him into a little kid, and he's crying, and then he's drowning, and they're having to give him all these different things. And then you got Kelly Rowland, right? I mean, you got Destiny's Child. I mean, I don't know how we can't be more pumped about that. You got a Destiny's Child person in this, and I think that was my most exciting moment because I was like, good, finally. We can't get Beyonce, and we can't get the other girl who nobody knows who it is anymore. She probably like works at a restaurant. We don't have her. We have Kelly Rowland, and we have her character, which is absolutely top notch. But I enjoy this film probably too much. But this is for me. This is like what Jason X I feel like was trying to be, which was just stupid fun. Like it was just trying to be dumb fun. It wasn't taking itself seriously at all. And I love Freddy's filed down teeth.
All right, what do you got? What do you got as a rating?
This one for me is probably a 7.5. Yeah. And I don't want to offend anybody by liking this. That's not my case. I'm not trying to offend anybody out there by liking something, but I will stand by it. I like it, and my mom backs me on that. So.
I'm going to say this with it. I do really like this movie. I think I loved it the first time. I think where it goes down in quality now for me is just the overall story. I think the kills are great. I think you got great kills. And again, like Sam said, the final like battle is awesome. I love when they're in the cabin and the fire's coming up. I think all that stuff is great. I think as far as story and some of the acting goes, I think that's when it goes down for me. But again, I give it a 6.4. So
okay. A remake, reboot, whatever you want to call it. In my humble opinion, from the very first time I saw it, the weakest of the three remakes of the big three, in my opinion. I like Derek Mears. I think Derek Mears did fine. I really do. I liked the inclusion of making Jason more intelligent. I don't know, resourceful. He was like a hunter-gatherer type. I did enjoy that. I really loved the opening. I thought the opening was awesome. The first 10, 15 minutes, especially the kill. I'm trying to remember correctly, but doesn't he put a woman in a sleeping bag and over a fire? Yes. Oh my goodness. Hold on. My kid is crying. You're fine. You're fine, dude. I watched what happened. You slipped. You fell on your butt. You're fine. There's no blood. Anyway. I love that kill. That's one of my favorite kills in the franchise. If I'm being like totally honest with you, that is gnarly. And I just really enjoyed that opening altogether. After that, though, I mean, it just really loses me. It really does. I think that the kills in the movie are awesome. Like, I think they're just some really good kills. What's the one they call tits on a stick? Like with through the dock. That's a good kill too. Here's my problem with the Friday the 13th reboot, and it literally takes the worst things of some of the worst Friday movies and amplifies them. Like, you know what? We should have more pointless drug use and more pointless drinking and more sex scenes. We should really up the ante. And on top of that, we should have all of our characters be hateable, not just one. Like, every character should suck. All right, hell yeah, we've got an idea. And in my opinion, I mean, especially Trent is one of the worst characters I've ever seen in a horror film. I mean, and don't get me wrong, they are stupendous, but I don't need to hear you say it, okay? And I don't need an elongated 5-minute scene because it's just, at that point, Justin,
and I'm saying this to you because I feel like you'll understand. It makes me feel like I'm watching a softcore porn, like Wrong Turn 6. Like it gets to a point where it's like, am I watching a horror movie anymore? Or is this like an HBO midnight softcore porno? Because a lot of the moments in this movie feel like that. But look, overall, if you like the movie, I can understand why. Because like I said, Derek Mears is solid. The kills are solid. But I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of it. I do not like the remake. So what about you, Justin?
So for me, I know it gets hate, and I understand if you don't like it, but I loved it more the first time, but I still love it now. I think it does go down in quality. I'll just throw off my negatives real quick. I do not like Trent as a character. Don't like him at all. He's one of the worst characters in the Friday the 13th franchise. I am not a fan of the sister in this movie. I don't think she should have been the final girl. She does a lot of things in this movie that kind of drives me crazy. Like, she escapes like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, Jason, get the hint. She's not your mom.
That's a good quote. We need to make sure they quote that.
There you go, Joe.
I don't like the final girl. I think killing off Daniel Panabaker was like the dumbest thing because she's the most likable character in this movie. Jared Padalecki, he's good. Again, not a bad character, but not one of my most memorable characters. I think most of my problems go with the script. Things I do love about this movie, though, is I love Derek Mears as Jason. He is awesome. He's brutal. He's great. Love the opening. Opening of the movie was just awesome. I agree. Need more shirtless dudes. There you go. I agree with that. I love the opening though. Like before we get to the Friday the 13th credits, when I saw that in theaters, I was like, that is awesome. It took maybe like 15 minutes before we got to Friday the 13th itself. Friday the 13th itself. The second half of the characters, they're weak. Except for Daniel Panabaker. I'll root for that character, even though she dies every time I watch it. But I do love it. For me, I wouldn't even say I have a soft spot for it. I definitely love this movie. Despite its problems, I do love this movie. Great kills as well. Great kills.
All right, Sam.
I wouldn't use the word love for the movie, but I definitely liked it. So the credits of the actual thing doesn't come up till 20 minutes, which is the longest I've ever seen in a movie have an opening before we actually get to the actual plot. The full thing actually open up. But the kill with putting the girl in the sleeping bag over the fire is the best kill in the entire series, in my opinion. It was the most brutal, and then to have that guy trapped, his leg trapped, and then the one girl try to run and have Jason come running at her full blast, and then it stopped. Like I was like, okay, like this is good. I love that he's a hunter-gatherer. I like that they make more sense of it. I like the opening part with his mom. They do kind of remake that. They kind of actually see him come over there and do that kind of stuff. They take the stuff from the first one, the second one, take that plot line, which I'm fine with. I do like that he has tunnels underground, and that you see him find the hockey mask pretty quick. They don't do Baghead, but they do something. They do a lot of shout-outs. The Trent character, yes. I always feel like you either need full vengeance against him or you need to be redeemed in some sense. And he was neither. He was killed, but I either think you need to have each of his arms cut off slowly or, something, or allow him to be a little bit heroic and allow somebody who's a little more likable to turn out to be the villain. Which is, I always kind of like if you actually have somebody who's set up as the nice guy who's actually, and yet you flip you expect Trent to be a jerk. No, he's just a jerk the whole time. And he shouldn't have a gun. He's a good argument against Second Amendment, right? He's just shooting everything. So I liked all of that stuff. Now, all those things were cool, but I think the one thing that makes the movie not as good as it could be, and I think is the movie feels very produced. I don't know if that makes sense.
Platinum Dunes.
It doesn't feel like it. Yeah, it doesn't feel, and I think this is the one thing that holds it back. Whether you like Rob Zombie's Halloween and 2, it's very much a Rob Zombie film.
Yes.
You feel how he shoots it, the vibe, the music. This one very much feels like Michael Bay is right there. in the background. They want it shot a certain way. They want a certain vibe. We're going to get a girl they're like, we need nudity. Okay, make sure every girl has fake boobs, because of course they all do. And make sure they're going to water ski topless for some reason, right? So they had all of these things set up, and the way it's shot and killed, there's very little feeling of, I'm like, who the director does. It didn't feel to me like there was a director's vision. More like it was a lot of people came together to make it. Now, that doesn't mean I didn't like the film, because I did still think for what it was strong. But I think it could have gone into, for me, Halloween and Halloween 2 territory if it would have had, because it was more brutal in a lot of ways, if it would have had the vibe that I felt like there was a director that really gave me his vision. And I think it lacked that. But it did, again, it did have a girl for no reason, topless, water skiing, and I still don't know why, but it did. And scenes that just kept going forever, nudity scenes, they kept adding more and more. And I was like, for me personally, like, I get it, boobs exist, but if you want to, for me personally, if you want to go see boobs, you can type it into Google. Yeah. Like, I'm here to see cool deaths, and I want to be entertained. I don't really care, I just honestly don't care. Like, I like, women are cool, but I'm here to see deaths. Like, that's what I'm here to stay for. So
yeah, and that's one of my biggest complaints. Although I do really enjoy Rob Zombie's Halloween, that's one of my biggest complaints with Rob Zombie's Halloween. Is the same way. A lot of boobs, a lot of, and people are going to sit here and be like, "You guys are complaining about boobs." I'm complaining about adding so many unnecessary sex scenes when that's not what the movie is about. I'm here for the kills. I'm here for the entertainment. If I can be entertained with boobs, like Sam said, if I go to Google, okay, like, and if I don't. It doesn't make me dislike a movie. It's just like pointless, where I'm just kind of like, especially the scene with Trent with the video camera is so long. Like, It is so drawn out, where it's like, dude, how did the MPAA allow this at that point? I'm like, this is really long. But, whatever. I mean, it's a minor gripe. Jamie is in the chat. She says she likes more boobs. Hey. Boobs are great, man. Don't get me wrong. And like Sam said, we understand. But my biggest knock on this movie, though, is what you said, is that it just felt soulless, heartless. There was no vision there. There was no goal. There was no end game. This didn't seem like it was made like as a labor of love. It seemed like they approached Marcus Nispel and said, "Hey, you did really good with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You should remake this one too." Okay, how much will you pay me? We'll pay you this. All right, screw it, I'll do it. Like, that's what it seemed like. It was a job. It wasn't a labor of love. And for all the hate Rob gets, you can tell that he did enjoy playing in the world of Michael Myers. Like, you can really tell that. But I just didn't feel like there was a vision here. I don't know.
I agree with, like, and this is the problem with all of the Platinum Dunes movies. I love the way Texas Chainsaw Massacre looks. It has such a great atmosphere. But after that, it just seems like they were like, there was a formula there. Let's do it with all our movies. And it has the same look and same feel in all these films. It worked for some movies. It doesn't work for others. Like the same feel, same atmosphere almost. Yeah, that's another one of my problems with it.
Yeah. And if they're gonna have boobs, have the nipples fall off. They need to be detachable. I think we can all agree on that. I think the chat can agree, and I think the world can agree. And I think if we could all agree, at least admit that we all agree on that, we could have world peace.
Yes, we could. And so everybody, you just need to be honest with yourselves and call it like it is. Detachable nipples, or I don't want them. But I'm gonna go straight into the rating, guys. I'm gonna give it a 4, and I do like it more than Jason X and Jason Goes to Hell. And sometimes I think I might like it better than Part 7, but that's the biggest thing for me. It just felt soulless, felt heartless. So 4 for me. What about you, Justin?
I'm gonna give it an 8. I like it. I do love it, but it's not as strong as it when I first saw it in theaters. I had a great theater experience seeing it with a group of friends, but I give it an 8. I do love the movie.
Okay, Sam.
I will give it a 7, and I give it a 7 because it'd be like, for me, like, I'd probably give it a 3 out of, like, on Letterboxd, I give it a 3 out of 5. It's an easy 3.5 if it feels like it has a little more personal style to it. I felt that during because the beginning, the opening part of him, the first 20 minutes, the killings in that part are my favorite part.
Yep.
They kill those parts. And the second half, the characters aren't as likable, but I feel like they keep going like, we have a black guy. He's making black references. He's saying something about rap. We have an Asian guy too. He's also getting no ladies. And you're like, okay, like I get it. And then, we have all the characters. We have a guy from Supernatural. He's handsome. So, and so you toss it. But I think the main thing, and I agree with the thing, and I agree just where's the shirtless guys? Why are we not getting more shirtless men?
I know. Just saying.
So,
we're going to talk about free the nipple, free the male nipple. Come on, let's free all the nipples right now and make them
free the hairy nipple. I say free the hairy nipple, and I want to see more lower back with hair. That's all I'm saying. That's what I want to see on screen every single time, and they don't give it to me. They're always giving me girls that, yes, they're pretty, great. I've seen that before. Give me something that can awaken something in me I don't want awakened.
Yes,
that's what I want.
Guys, look, as far as the Friday the 13th series goes, to wrap the series up, the series discussion, I have to go back and revisit. I think I'm going to watch the remake tonight. I think I'm going to revisit it. I'm going to give it another chance. I'm going to see where I stand on it now. But overall, it's a really solid franchise. I mean, I do think for what it is, if you go into it expecting too much, well, that's on you, man. A lot of these are just dumb fun. And, a lot of 80s slashers are that way. I enjoy this. I enjoy the series. Halloween is still cream of the crop for me. But I really do enjoy Friday the 13th. I think all three of us do. There's some gems in there. But I will say, as far as us getting another movie, guys, I mean, it's going to be a long time. Like it's already been a long time. It's been 12 years, and it doesn't look like it's letting up anytime soon. So I can almost guarantee you that when it comes back, it will be another remake because it will have been so long.
I love this franchise. I will say, if you have not seen it yet, I have not seen the second one yet, but the first Never Hike Alone, watch it because that was an awesome fan-made movie. And if it would have been 90 minutes long, it would be one of my favorite movies.
That's what I've heard. I haven't seen it though.
I love it. But as the franchise, it's my second favorite franchise after Halloween.
What about you? Top 3 ranking? What's the big 3? What do you put it, Sam?
It's probably
you said 2. You said 2, right, Justin?
Yeah, Halloween, Friday, and then Nightmare would be mine.
Okay.
I just watched the entire Nightmare series. I just finished that. I'd seen it before in the past, but just rewatched it. I haven't seen the Halloween entire series since I was a young kid. I watched all of them. I would say this is probably on the low end for me. I like Freddy's more inventive, even if it's stupid. It can be more inventive, and I think Michael Myers I like Michael Myers' look. I like that he creeps around houses a little bit more, and he comes in and out of things. So I feel like sometimes those films are better made films than these ones. But I think for myself, after watching this is definitely something I'm gonna revisit again, as in watching them as a group, in a row, and watch them and come at them from a different. I'll even rewatch 5. I'll do it. I'll do it for the fans, and try to find something new, and always because I always like if you revisit something, especially you come like 5 years later, a lot of times it completely changes what you've seen between, and you come back and you flip movies, and that's happened to me a lot with these movies. And so I'll be interested to see where I stand on that. But I do hope they make this other one. I feel like if anything, this new one, it was a setup for what could come next, and that you could hand the movie over to somebody, a horror director, somebody up and coming that really loves the series but wants to take it in a different direction. That's mostly what I want. I don't want to retread. We've gone, take it somewhere new and take a chance, but not space. Take a chance somewhere else.
I say if you give this to like Adam Green, the guy who directed the Hatchet movies, I know some people are mixed by those, but Adam Green's a fan. Like that's a director who's a fan of slashers. If he got a hold of a Friday the 13th movie, that would be awesome. And I still don't understand why, because this movie the remake made a lot of money. I don't understand why they never did a sequel to the movie.
Well, it's because after the hype of the remake and how the remake did, then you had the development. It took a while, but you got the game. And then once the game came out, you had Victor Miller and Sean S. Cunningham both wanting to say, oh, I deserve the most money from this. Oh, no, I deserve the most money from this franchise. Oh, yeah, well, I'm going to take you to court. Oh, okay. And now we're still stuck in that limbo because neither one of them wants to cede majority control to the other. Now, whoever you think is more responsible and deserves more credit, well, that's, what, I don't get into all that. I really, truly don't care. I just think it's really, really shitty to hold this out as long as you are, even though you're both already loaded and it doesn't matter. And you're going to die soon because you're both old. So it just doesn't matter. But because of your pissing contest, the people that love these movies can't get any more content. They can't even get 4K transfers of the movies because of this rights battle. That's bullshit. I mean, it's messed up. It's just messed up. It really is. And, it sucks for you because you guys think this is worth it. Well, Halloween is back in a big way, making a lot of money. Nightmare will be back soon enough. I promise you, it will be back soon enough. And Jason will just still be sitting on the sidelines and Victor Miller will go, well, if this movie makes $100 million, I better get 99 million, not 98. And I'll go to court over that $1 million. Hey, you guys, obviously I'm kidding, but whatever. You guys want to draw it out. You're basically just giving your middle finger to the fans. So that tells you that for them, it's all about money. It really is. But
bye, Jamie.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in, Jamie.
Thank you, Jamie.
Yeah. Jill says the lawsuit's annoying. We're not getting any more movies, especially after Halloween 2018. There should have been another Friday by now. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there should be another Nightmare too. Why isn't there?
Well, I think Nightmare. I mean, we'll talk about that franchise next time. But with Friday the 13th, yeah, I'm the same way. I'm tired of the lawsuit. The crazy thing is I love the Scream Factory box set, and they're coming out with a new set, and I'm like, you guys can release these movies on physical media, but you can't make a new movie. That's what I don't understand. It's like you can release 5 box sets. I don't know how many that they have now, but you can't release a new movie.
Oh no, you're asking for too much, Justin.
I want to see a new Friday the 13th film. Like I said, if we don't get that, watch Never Hike Alone. I haven't seen the second one, but the first one, awesome short movie. And that would have been such an awesome movie if it was 90 minutes long.
Yeah. So. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to wrap up. I got to eat dinner and, do dad stuff. So I want to say thank you to Sam, a.k.a. Triple Feature, for being in here with us tonight. Look, man, we really enjoyed it. We love what you add to our live chats. You're hilarious. I'm grateful to have met you through YouTube. I think that you definitely, it was a very fun conversation. I didn't feel at any point like I wanted it to end. So, that's something.
I'm just happy to be here. So like I said, I watched both of your channels. Well, I watched yours. I ran into randomly. And then Justin, I didn't realize had a channel until I realized, I thought he just came on here. And then I realized he had a channel. So I started watching that. And then he's telling me he bought Tammy and the T-Rex. So I'm like, I'll look that movie up. And I watched it uncut. That movie's, that seems like a B-rated classic. After I watched that movie, I really enjoyed it. It was so ridiculous that it was just amazing. And I knew it was ridiculous. So I loved it. And knew it the whole time. So yeah, I watched both your stuff, and I love movies. So and horror just happens to be one of the genres that I watch regularly. So
yeah. Hey, well, we appreciate you being here. I mean, and by the way, Ali, no, Candyman will not beat Michael Myers at the box office this year. I promise you. Candyman's going to make a lot of money. Not going to make as much as Halloween Kills. Guarantee it.
Yeah, but Michael will never have a pimp coat, though, the way Candyman had.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Well, thank you, Triple Feature. Guys, go over to his channel right now. Channel name, Triple Feature. Type it in. You'll see he has a video. I think the first video that pops up, I'm trying to remember. I don't know if it's the best films of 94. I can't remember which one it is, but type in Triple Feature. You will see him. Subscribe to him. Dude's funny as hell. And he actually put up a review today that is super funny of Into the Heights. He just loved it so much, and I loved his review of it. And I was sitting there laughing the whole time. But
I love that movie.
I digress. Guys, and then tomorrow, yes, Taylor just asked what we're doing tomorrow. Scream. Live commentary for Scream tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Assuming my son cooperates, might be like 9:15, but 9 is the target. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Thank you for being in the chat. Thank you for communicating with all of us. Thank you for welcoming Sam onto here and everyone aside from Junior. We appreciate you, everyone, even Junior. We appreciate Junior.
Junior was my favorite. I love Junior. I think he's
not the comments, so I was like, "What's happening with Junior?" So
he was. We don't need to get into it, but
anyway, people feature. Thanks for joining us, though.
Absolutely, thanks for having me. It's fun.
Yeah. We will definitely have to get you on the channel again.
All right,
guys. Well, thank you so much. Have a great night, and we will see you tomorrow night for our Scream live commentary.
Bye, guys.